And before I go, one quick question from Pam, who's been sitting here waiting so patiently and taking every single thing in with her heart, her mind, and her soul. And if you will listen and re-listen to this over and over again, you will feel my love deep in your soul as I start to fill you with the love you should know as I come to you deep in your heart. And so, Pam, what is your question for me?
So my question is about right now. There's a lot of polarization in the country, and we're experiencing it in our families. And how do we approach the people who are difficult, but we want to be with them? How can we find that common ground and have a good holiday visit?
Very, very good question from me. And so I would answer it one way and with one sentence that I just explained is, 'tis the reason for the season. And the reason I say that is this, is 'tis the reason for the season. Just because somebody is not you does not mean that you love them any less. Nobody is like you. Not your kids, not your husband, not your family members, not your neighbor, not fellow Americans, not Europeans, not anybody. I designed you perfect. Perfect. I designed you perfect in love. And so what I would ask of you is this is the deeper question, the question behind the question. Why would you think that somebody is difficult just because they don't have the same perceptions or misperceptions or misgivings such as you?
What I was thinking of is I listened to a really great podcast that talked about people who were all on the same side of an argument but couldn't get along over Thanksgiving. And seeing that in my family and in the people around me. So what I'm trying to figure out is the correct. I'm not particularly worried about it, but I'm around people who are worried about it. And so I not only do I want to approach it better, but I want to help them approach it better. Did that make sense?
Yes. But again, I'm going to ask you the question behind the question is why do you perceive somebody who is not you, who may or may not be, for instance, a Catholic? In your own congregation, there are all types of people all over the board. And even though the diocese and the Pope are pro-life, there are people that have had abortions in the congregation. There are people that use contraceptives. There are people that use the rhythm method, not to get too detailed, but you know what I mean. And then there are those that the fact that they have 15 or 20 kids tells you that they are probably following God's will and the Pope and the Catholic Church. And so the reason I say that to you is this, is I talk a lot about labels. And what I mean is this, is there is no such thing as a Republican or a Democrat, a black
Yes.
person, a white person, an Asian, a Muslim, a rich person, a poor person, a bum, or a homeless person or a drug addiction. Their names are Mark, Susan, John, Kathy, Linda, Mary, Joseph, on and on and on. And so the reason I say that is this, is be careful. And I say this not to you. And I applaud you for bringing this up, this question that laid on your heart, because it gives me the opportunity to speak to my children in something that is very pressing to them, but it is just a perception. It's a perception and it's a misperception. And so again, you don't walk into the Catholic Mass and suddenly start pointing out, you use contraception, but yet you say you're a Catholic, but you can't be because you voted Democrat and they're pro-life, and that makes no sense. You see, a person is just a person, and they all are messy, and you all make mistakes, and you all do fantastic things, every single one of you. And so what I would rather you do is this, is when your company comes to your house, and please again, America, or whoever is listening, whoever has ears to hear and a heart that wants to be open to love and wants to experience Christmas, Christ Mass. Mass means more. Christ more. Christ more. Christ more in your heart. If you want to experience and receive the joys of Christ more, then you have to have the heart of Christ. And people, I am not just talking to Pam. I am talking to any of you that speak and slap a label on somebody as they are hard to get along with. They are uppity. They stick their nose down at me. They think they're always right. They are always late. They are jealous of me. They are prettier than me. They are shorter than me. They are taller than me. Their hair's too dark. Their hair's too short. Their hair's too curly. Their hair's too white. Do you see what I'm saying? If you come upon a person, whoever it is, I don't care if it's a homeless person, I don't care if they're a prisoner, and I don't care if they have murdered 500 people. What I want each of you to understand is this. Every single person you see is a child of God. And then their actions and how they present themselves will then determine who they are in my love and what their heart looks like. And so the reason I say this is at Christmas time, I just want you to focus on the reason for the season. That's it. Christ more, Christmas. And just lead with that. Accept everybody for who they are in their brokenness. Because here's what happens at this time of year. There's shows on TV, and then people go to plays, and then they sing Christmas music about getting gifts and presents and family that all gets along and everything's perfect. And we got to have the perfect dinner, and we have to use grandma's Christmas plates, and we have to use the special candles that have been passed down, candle holders that have been passed down for generations. And oh my, you put the wrong candle in. It's the wrong color of white. It's an off-white. It has to be a pearl white. And the reason I say that to you is this. Again, 'tis the reason for the season. If you are more concerned about keeping the outside of the cup clean and looking perfect, meanwhile you're bankrupt inside, you're broken inside, and you're hurting. And so when they come to your house, even bearing gifts, everybody has a hole in their heart. Every single person you meet. There's nobody who's perfect. Nobody. You are all unique expressions of love. And your path is not your son's path. It's not your mom's path. It's not your husband's path. It's not your neighbor's path. It's nobody's path. Yours is uniquely your own. And so that's what I want you to focus on. And again, I'm not just talking to Pam. I am grateful that she brought this question up, because that question is on the hearts of everyone who is hearing this message today. Because when you try to make another think and act like you, that is making you judge and jury. You are saying you are wrong and I am right. You did not lay grandma's dishes down on the table properly. And if she was here, she would be ashamed and berate you. You see, grandma's not here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And I'm not saying don't put up boundaries, because if Cousin Eddie comes to your Christmas dinner and disrupts it and is egregious and is an alcoholic and has bad table manners and does exactly what happens on the Christmas show, well then Eddie needs to sit outside in his trailer, right? And he can stay out there with his family. And we will be happy to bring him a plate. But my point is this, is you still love him. He still has your heart. And that is different. That is completely different. You are saying, Cousin Eddie, I'm sorry, but your table manners are horrendous. And you try to help teach him the right way to handle a social interaction. And if he can't do that, you say, I love you, but I can't let you in my house to destroy it and to be disruptive. But you don't take away your love from his heart. And you still treat him like the beautiful specimen of love who he is. You see, if somebody has never learned how to act properly, and if society has told them that they are a less than, then of course they're going to act as a less than. If society has taught them that they are an elitist and rules don't apply to them, well, of course, you would see that their actions would result and be just like that. And so what do you do? That's the greatest question. What do you do when somebody acts and says something different from you? You see, that's the million-dollar question, my friend.
Oh, yes.
Do you let them into your house and into your home and into your private affairs? And that is what's going on as well with Trump, for instance, where he wants to put up the wall. And so the thing, and very other types of things in your cities. The Catholic Church, they say, I'm going to put up a wall. Nobody is allowed until they go through all the proper channels and they become ordained, and they may be able to now take part. You cannot have the Eucharist, and you cannot go up for and say that you are a Catholic unless you go through their proper channels. You see, everybody sets boundaries up in this world. You can't just walk into a college and say, I'm a student at Columbia. You have to go through the channels. They admit you. They say, do you have enough money? And where are you going to live? And show me your ACT and show me your grades. And if you come in and you don't do a good job and you don't study and get A's or B's or C's or possibly D's, then you can't come back to our school. You need to find something else. And so what I'm trying to tell you is this. In heaven, there's no boundaries. There's nothing to prove because there's no stories that people need to live out their life with. They've already proven themselves. They are of God and they are of one, and they want to be part of my kingdom of love. But right now, you're each living out your stories. And so you don't let everybody walk into your house. You don't let every heroin addicted person come to your house. You don't let everybody who's released from jail walk into your house and sit down and say, this is my home. You don't do that. And that's right. And that's just. Your home is your sanctuary. And so it's proper for you to lock your door and to put up a fence and be in charge of who comes in and out of your home and your life. Now that is completely different than love. Love has no boundaries. And so I talked about Trump and the wall, and that offended you. You immediately went, oh! And then some of you listening said, yeah, man, he's for Trump. And so I want each of you to take a look at your hearts and see how you responded when I said that. Some of you said, let's keep everybody out of our country until we can get it working right and in order. And then we'll allow them in after they've been properly vetted, and we can properly take care of them, and they can add to the goodness of our country. And then others said, what are you talking about? We're the home of the brave of the free. And anybody who can make it here by boat, by anything, by caravan, anything, you're welcome here. We'll take care of you. And so what I would like to do with that statement right there is I want each of you, both sides, to say to yourselves, what would God say about this? And the reason I tell you is this, is again, your physical home is different than heaven. Heaven, they've all been vetted. They've all said yes. Everyone said yes. And everyone has a cooperative spirit. They all get along because they've all proven themselves that they have chosen love. Now you're still playing your story out here. You can't treat everybody as if they were properly vetted. And what I mean by that is this. You can't let every person, every prisoner that's released from prison, you can't let them into your home. You can't let Cousin Eddie just come in just because he's a relative. You can't let every heroin addict come into your home. And all I want you guys to start doing is thinking about this is, who am I in God's land? Who am I in God's land? Who am I in God's land? Because that's the question that is pervading, is what do I do for my neighbor? And what I will leave you with is this, and this is what I want you to think about and ponder. Again, heaven is different. Everyone is vetted. You can't get in unless you're of love. Your time will be up. each one of you. Each one of you knows who is listening to this, that you're living the dash right now. You were born and you're living the dash. And one day I will come upon every one of you, and you'll hear my name as I speak straight to your heart. You'll hear my name if you're of love. And so what I want to challenge each of you with is this. Don't focus so much on the differences of others, because you're supposed to be different. There's a reason I laid to earth and birthed somebody who was in Venezuela, South America, France, England, North America, South America, Canada, Mexico. Everybody is born in a time and a place where they are to learn the life stories and the life lessons in the culture and the surroundings and the time that they are living in. I don't make mistakes. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. I got a plan for each one of you. But instead of this, instead of slapping a label on somebody and saying, I don't love you because you're a heroin addict. I don't love you because you're an ex-convict. I don't love you because you're a different skin color, a different nationality, a different voting partner than I am. You see, love is completely different than being smart and having survival instincts and saying, you know what? I think that that particular person could possibly harm me. They just look kind of scary to me. So what I'm going to do is this, is I'm going to set up a boundary. I'm not going to not walk down that dark alley. I'm just going to go this way, but I'm going to wish him well and I'm going to love on him. You see, there's a difference between being smart and then being reactive and judging and saying you're a less than and you're going to kill me. It's a completely different thing. And so what I would like to leave you with is this, is that question behind the question, which is, how do I love somebody that is different than me? And what I would say to you is this, is look at the face of Jesus. Just look at the face of Jesus. Everybody is welcome into my kingdom of love. But if somebody has bad manners, like for instance, Cousin Eddie, or somebody who has committed horrendous crimes, please know that there is such a thing as mental illness. Yes. However, please know that hurt people will always hurt people. And the way that you turn them around is by offering love. It doesn't mean that you're a sap and you let your guard down and let everybody into your home. But what it means is this, is you may have to put up boundaries if you think somebody is possibly going to hurt you. It's okay. It's okay to put up boundaries. If there is an uncle or an aunt or a sister or a brother who every time they come, they're mean and demeaning and treat you bad and say mean things to you that you know are meant to cut you like a knife, and they just disregard it as, you can't take a joke. You know, sarcasm, right? Sarcasm, go look up the word, S-A-R-C-A-S-M. Means to cut like a knife with words. Sarcasm is meant to destroy. not build another up. And so if there is a relative or a neighbor or a friend whose intentions is to hurt you, please first address it with them if it's possible. And say, you know, when you say those words to me, man, it cuts like a knife. Can you please try not to say those words or disrespect that group of people, because that group of people, I love them. They're my friends. There might be some bad actors within the group, but all Catholics aren't bad. All black people aren't bad. All Republicans aren't bad. All white people aren't bad. All blah, 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 blah aren't bad. Each one of you is your own individual person. And each one of you is living the dash. You're living your life. And at the end, please know that that's all you can count on in life. None of you, nobody, get too comfortable with what you have. It can be gone in a minute. And not that I choose to take and disregard and things, but just know that any of you, by the free will of another, could possibly lose every single thing you own in your life. There will be people that lose all of their children by the actions of a drunk driver on Christmas Eve. There will be all types of tragedies. There are people that lose their jobs, that have house fires, and on and on and on. And it doesn't mean I'm not there. It doesn't mean God didn't have your back. It just means that you are a subject of somebody else and their actions of their free will expression of ways. That's all it is. And so what will you do? Pam, what would you do if you lost your husband and your sons overnight? Could you still say, my God is good? Could you say that? And what if you lost your house, your car, and all your possessions in a fire? Could you say, my God is good? Everyone, read the story of Job. Naked I came into the world, and naked I leave. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Can you say that? Can you say that, people? Because that's when it gets real. When you choose to step out of the boat. Blessed be the name. My God. You see, that's when the pedal hits the metal. It's easy. It's easy when all your bills are paid, everybody's healthy, and all your needs are met. It's easy to judge. It's easy to judge, but it's not until you have your husband cheat on you. It's not till you lose your children. It's not till you get cancer. It's not till you lose your mom and your dad and your brother and your sister, and your church goes up in flames as you find out the priest was having affairs with the parishioners. How do you go to church and say, and sit in the pew and say, blessed be the name of the Lord. He comes and he goes. He gives and he takes. But my God is good. Free will, my child. Free will is what is the gift I offer each one of you to become who you want to be in your heart. Free will, my child. Free will to do good, to do the work of Jesus, and free will to be an a-hole in this land as you move and you flow in your ways. And while I know some of you said, I can't believe the Lord just said a-hole, Please know that that is Wendy's words and not mine. I do move through an imperfect channel, and I have access to Wendy's vocabulary. And at times times I want to express things to you in a way that each of you knows. And so yes, the Lord doesn't always use that word, but please know that there are words in the Bible that have been changed through the years. And they've said plenty of frustrating things. And so, again, I'll leave you with this. Christmas equals Christ more. Christ more. That's what it is, the reason for the season, for more of Christ in your hearts. Accept every single gift you get as love. Don't judge. Don't judge another who thinks differently than you, because everybody thinks differently than you. Just because you agree with your husband or your spouse or your children or your mom or your brothers, or you maybe agree with some of the people that are in your room, please know this. It doesn't matter if you have common ground to talk about. But if you choose this topic that I'm giving you, and you say, what are some special memories, Christmas memories we made in the past? They will start talking. And then when you say things like, tell me something good that happened in the last 30 days. When you talk about good, even though everybody's perception of good is going to be different, what happens is this starts to flow. You start to have joy and love and respect for another. And so please know this. FYI, you'll always, always, always have somebody to disagree with. Doesn't matter who it is. And like I said, Pam, the reason that I use Pam as an example in the Catholic Church is she is Catholic. But again, not everybody practices it and follows it the way that it has been brought down through the ages, the way that the Pope wants it. The individual leaders do change things along the way. Nobody does everything the same. It's different in the different cultures and the different towns. The way that you follow Catholicism here is different than the way they follow in California, in Oklahoma, in Salt Lake City. In Salt Lake City, Catholicism to some people is a 4-letter word. So if you could think about everything that I said a little bit more, and if you would like to have a PDF written version of this, please go to the contact page that we have included in this podcast. Go ahead and click on the link if you'd like to schedule a personal message with Wendy, aka me, and I will answer any questions that you have about this or anything else that you wish. Check out the store. Check out some of the things that Wendy has received through me, channeled. I've given her some different CDs where we talk about different topics, but it's all me. Wendy's just a servant of my heart, and she follows and says what I do because she loves me and wants to please me in her soul. And so this is the Lord signing off for the day. Thank you for your time and your patience. And just remember, I love each and every one of you. Each of you are a perfect creation of me. And I love you just the way that you are. I love you. Time now to go. Amen.